All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may find yourself as you listen to this. And welcome to the podcast that is on this Triple B tonight. It's got brains, it's got bars, and it is black. I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all. It's another episode of It's a Black and White Thing. I am your host, A1. You can check out every episode of the podcast by going to your podcast app of choice, searching at Brains and Bars. You can also find most episodes of the podcast on YouTube by searching Brains and Bars. And please remember, when you go to whether the audio or the visual of the platform, you can like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars, and please share. We want to welcome to those of you who will be with us live as we go through the sports episode tonight. As I got a couple of rules. When you come into the house, I need you to speak, say what's up. You can say where you're from. Please like and share the broadcast. So those are the rules when you step into our house tonight. So as you can see, I'm not doing this episode by myself. I have Angela Roulette in the building tonight. Angela, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Cannot complain. Happy. Thank you for being on. This is something that I've been trying to set up. So when I started this podcast, me and A Ward did the first episode I did by myself, and I talked about my influences, being Dan Patrick, Bomani Jones, Dan Lebron. Shout out to Clock Radio Speakers. Shout out to Doc and Armand. Clock Radio Speakers was one of the influences, but Dan Lebron was one because Dan Lebron, he's funny. He asked very questions that try to get into your emotional psyche, but also because his network is the Dan Lebron network is a really vast family that is not just about him. It's about his father. It's about, Bomani was a part of that. Stu Gotts and all this huge network. And so I wanted this show to be a little bit of the same thing. And so welcome.
Thank you.
To the Black and White podcast family. Hopefully this will not be the last time. So definitely glad to have you. So for those of you who are new to the show, welcome. Thank you. For those who are regulars, we start each and every episode by going over what I learned for the week. And I learned a couple of things for the week. And so, normally, first of all, before I continue, I am award.com for all things award related. Everything loso.com for everything loso related. Shout out to the homies in their absence. Now, what I learned this week. So normally Ward, he obviously being from Tennessee, volunteer fan, he is the one who vents about the state of his team, right? He's the one who's always talking about, my team is this, my team is that. And so I don't normally do that. Although I did it in the Super Bowl after the Chiefs beat the 49ers. Yeah, I know. I'm hardly home, but I'm always repping. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I get down. But the thing I learned this week, I'm a North Carolina basketball fan for college. Okay. We here. Okay, that's what's up.
Tar Heel Nation, stand up. Okay.
Yeah.
Redeemable. Okay, I got you. Okay.
So I've been watching them this year. A really young team, really got some really talented guys. But the first thing I learned this week is that this team needs a true point guard badly.
Yeah.
I much love to RJ Davis, much love to Caleb. These young men are. Sorry about that. These young men are they're scoring guards. They're not a true PG. They're not a lead guard that can set up the offense, get things going into like a Kendall Marshall, or Ed Cota, or even like a Ty Lawson or Ray Felton. Who those guys, they could get their points, but they knew how to get it within the flow of the offense. RJ and Caleb, especially Caleb, is more aggressive. And North Carolina is the team that could make it to the Sweet 16 this year. They could get blown out by Wisconsin. You just never know because they've been so up and down. And so, Roy, somebody get this podcast in Roy's hands. Please go get a true point guard for next year. Because if y'all get a true point guard, you're a Final Four team with that young talent. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one of the first things I've learned this week is that Roy needs to find him a true point guard. The second thing I learned this week. Speaking of getting this podcast in people's hands, Mayor Lucas, Governor Parson, please hear me. Open up these vaccine tiers because your boy needs the shot, man. It is clear that people are about to live their best life this spring and summer. my brother, who's in the Army, he's moving a little bit further away from us. He's about 2 hours away. He's moving a little bit further out. He wanted to have dinner with us, just to kind of celebrate him going away, for however long he's going to be, where he's going to be stationed. We went out to a restaurant, busting. I'm talking about packed wall to wall, and I'm looking around like, man, listen. I haven't gotten out much during this pandemic. I think in a year, I've probably been to a restaurant maybe 6 times in a year, which is not how I normally kick it. I need to get this shot, not because I'm gonna be out here living my best life like that, but when I am out and about, vaccines don't prevent COVID 100%. I understand all that, but it increases your chances of you not getting it. So that's all I'm saying. Governor Parson, Mayor Lucas, hey, open up these tiers so your boy can get the shot. That's all I'm saying. That's what I learned this week. Y'all can hit us up by going to Facebook, IG, Twitter, @Brains and Bars, and letting us know what you learned for the week. So normally, this part of the show is turned over to A-Ward for what he's looking forward to. But since he's not here, Angela, what are you looking forward to this week?
Sports-wise, what I'm looking forward to free agency of the NFL. I normally would be looking forward to the tournament this time of year, but to be perfectly honest with you, as all things have been 2020 going into 2021, the sports calendar has been quite weird.
True.
And it's kind of hard for me as a sports fan to kind of get up and really excited about hoops because of the way things have been. Everything's going to be in Indianapolis. And also the blue bloods, the normal suspects are not really there. So it's like, as a North Carolina fan, you understand this, even though part of me is very happy that Duke has been absolutely ridiculously bad this year.
Absolutely.
But there is something to be said that you kind of need Darth Vader. You need the dark side. You need the dark force to kind of be there, so that way the Jedi can uprise and all that stuff. You get the Star Wars, right?
Yep. I'm following.
But basically, it just feels very off. With that being said, though, I am looking forward to seeing if Gonzaga can run the table. I'm looking forward to seeing if the resurgence of University of Michigan, who was my second favorite team, because I grew up being a Fab Five fan.
Okay, yep, respect.
Shout out to Juwan Howard and what he's done. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how this tournament's going to turn out in these COVID times. But those are the two things I'm really looking forward to. Is NFL free agency, how that's going to look, who's picking up who, and then of course the tournament.
Absolutely. Yep, definitely. Y'all can hit us up. Let us know what y'all think. What are y'all looking forward to this week as well? The tournament, it's kind of crazy. Like, I'll say this because we're going to talk about the tournament, but I'll just say this up front. And if you would have told like 10 or 11-year-old me, who used to get out notebook paper and make his brackets for the selection show and then try to hurry up, because we ain't had no pause and rewind back in the day. You had to be on the money. Abbreviation, your shorthand game had to be strong. You know what I'm saying? And so if you would have told 10-year-old me that, hey, in about 20 or so years, like, you may not be as excited about the tournament as you used to be, like, I'd be like, get out of here, you lying. That's not gonna happen. So I'm kind of on par with you with that.
Yeah.
All right, so we got an action-packed show for you tonight. And so we want to jump into, so I don't know if this is going to be a new segment, but we did this last week. I'm gonna bring it back again. I'm just gonna call it kind of like a pregame, right? So it's not on the list of main topics, but just some things that I saw pop up that I wanted to get feedback on and see what you had to say. So shout out to Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? I was on my way to work this morning. I normally listen to podcasts, but I've been listening to music lately, listen to my music library, just throw it on shuffle and see what happens. And so, last week, I think it was like a Kanye record that came on, a 1K Few record that came on as I'm walking into work, and like just the vibe of the record, the beat, I was just feeling like I felt like I was making my entrance into the ring, like it was WWE or making my way up to bat. You know what I'm saying? And so this morning on my way into work, Jay-Z's Brush Your Shoulders, Dirt Off Your Shoulders came on. You know what I'm saying? And so like I'm walking in, I got my swaggers a little bit, So with that being said, if you had to choose a record that would be like kind of like your entrance music, or like if you're coming up to the plate, your walk-up music, what would that song be?
That's it's funny enough, it's real easy, but I'm kind of a deep cut person.
Okay.
It's not somebody that you would expect. It is actually, I don't know if you're familiar, but before Anderson .Paak decided he wanted to link up with Bruno Mars, he linked up with actually a producer named Knowledge, and they created a group called No Worries.
I am familiar with No Worries. Yep.
And so my walk up song, and my walk down the street feeling like I'm about to enter the ring, is I'm Living. That song, right. If you're not familiar, get familiar. It's called I'm Living, and it's by No Worries, NX Worries, and it is by far like the most like triumphant, the horns, all the beat, everything. You feel like you walking in about to just like completely conquer the world. It's everything. So I would say that one. And if I'm feeling a little ratchet.
Okay.
If I'm feeling a little ratchet, it might just be I know this is so typical. Write Me Down.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that.
This might be Write Me Down, or basically I have a couple of different things. I'm always got my headphones in. So yeah, so basically I think that I'm Living is definitely number one though. For sure.
Okay, that's what's up. So y'all let us, if you had to have a walk-up song, y'all can jump in the comments and tell us if you had to have a walk-up song or like an entrance theme song, what would that song be? Like, I'm trying to think, like definitely that Jay-Z record. I'm a Drake guy, so I could probably pull, just depending on what kind of attitude and mood I want to be in. You could throw on, I can't think. Oh gosh, Worst Behavior.
Did you just say you're a Drake fan?
I am a Drake fan.
That's unfortunate. If there's anything that you must know about me, is that I am I am the president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer of the I Don't Like Aubrey Graham. We don't believe you. You need more people.
Hey, no Drake records?
There may be a couple, but very few. I think that Drake is a little too emo for me.
I can dig it.
I like my hip hop a little bit more Griselda than Kid Cudi.
Not a guy though, but I rock with Griselda.
But you know what I'm saying? Like I grew up in an era where it was like, and Drake is really not that.
I can dig it.
And that's just not my that's not my bag. And and not to mention the fact he's the king of the F-boy anthems. and clearly my female status will not allow me to entertain any of that. It won't. I can't entertain it. I can't.
Respect. I can dig it. I can dig it. All right. So I got one more question kind of for the pregame. So shout out to the homie Tavita. I call him like the shadow producer. We DM and exchange notes about sports, and sometimes I see him post some stuff. And so he posted a status about what was the college basketball player that you just knew was going to blow once he got to the league, but it didn't happen. Like for me, that player was Royce White. He played at Iowa State. He might have been a Big 12 Player of the Year. Really good Iowa State team. And when he got to the league, like I know he had some issues with anxiety and mental illness because like he didn't like to fly. So he and the Houston Rockets had some back and forth about his how to get him from game to game. And then there was also some mental illness issues. I actually saw him PBS Frontline did a documentary about the election. I believe it was about voting it was during the summer of unrest and the George Floyd riots. And I think voting might have been wrapped up in that too. And he was working with a group on the ground in Minneapolis for protesting. And so he looked like he was healthy, like he was in a good place. And so I am happy to see that for him. But he was a guy like, I feel like if you want to talk about I'm trying to think what I compare him to in terms of his. I want to say Draymond with a better offensive game because of his ability to create, be a playmaker on the offensive end and get his own shot. Like I thought he could have been a really good talent. So that was the guy for me that I thought he was going to be a big star and it just didn't pan out for him. You got
Right. I have to think about it because, like, for me, I guess for different reasons, obviously, um, because of injury, obviously, you know, as much as I cannot stand Duke, I was a Grant Hill fan. I was.
Yeah.
And for me, I felt like, we were coming out of that era of who's going to be the next Michael Jordan. And I hate that because it's just kind of like, so
Yeah.
for me, like, I felt Grant Hill, if he had not gotten injured so much, he could have really been like that guy. He could have been, but I mean, unfortunately, he got injured so much that it just became, I mean, it's an old school joint, but that would be basically for me. That's what I feel like. But there's so many now that I'm like, I can't tell you who's.
Yeah.
We'll get into it. I got opinions.
Okay. That's what's up. Y'all can let us know what y'all think. Shout out to the homie to Vita. Yeah. Grant Hill was definitely one of those. He could have been one of them ones.
Yeah.
And even before, like those 3 or 4 years before I think it was the foot and the ankle stuff. Like he was he was a bad boy. But speaking of the NBA, let's transition. NBA started up the second half after the All-Star break this year. Fun All-Star game, although Team LeBron it was a stacked roster. There was nothing they could do. Team KD couldn't do anything about what they had put together, whatever. But I saw an article and I wanted to get your thoughts on this. It was from ESPN. I believe it's Kevin Pelton was the author. It's called "Are Three-Pointers Ruining?" Or I guess that's how my take on it. Are three-pointers ruining the NBA? Three-pointers are being shot at an all-time clip, at an all-time high. I think they said of 45 of the last 61, like most three-point attempts in the game have happened like in the last couple of years in terms of attempts per game. And so I just want to get your thoughts on what do you think? Do you think that this three-point revolution is destroying the NBA?
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
And here's why I say this. I mean, I understand the analytics that obviously, three is more than two. I get that. However, in terms of the flow of the game, one thing I would say is that as much as Steph Curry and Damian Lillard and people like that who are just like 3-point, they are automatic, right?
Yep.
I do have an issue with like the 4 or the 5 taking a 3 as much as the 1 or the 2. That's an issue for me because it's just like, look, make the proper basketball play. I know a lot of people want to dog on LeBron about, a lot of different things because he's LeBron. But one thing I can definitely say is LeBron's basketball IQ is one of the best I have ever seen. And the reason why is because he makes the proper basketball play. If you are literally playing a defense where literally you are isolated on your own and you can drive the lane and make contact, you do that. Don't jack up a 3 and there's a 50-50 shot that you're not going to make it. The path of least resistance is there. At least you get to put on the line or you make it and won. That's all I'm saying. So it's just like, for me, I feel like there's too many threes being jacked up. And the way I see it at the worst is at the college level. So then they could translate to the NBA level. And it's just kind of like I see a lot of games where games could have been won or the outcome could have been changed if someone had just went ahead and took it to the hole as opposed to just throwing up a 3. So yes, I will say that it is ruining the game slightly.
Oh man. That's tough. So for me, I don't think it's ruining the game. I do think that there has to be some level of it. It has to be curbed a little bit. I do think it is going too far where you're seeing like the Houston Rockets missing 27 in a row. Right? There's not enough of trying to work. I mean, granted, the big man is dead, right? The big man has basically been taken out of the game. Jokic is a throwback. Embiid is a throwback, but even those guys are not working exclusively from the paint. They're working out the top of the key. They're working mid post, free throw line extended. And so I I don't think it's ruining the game. I think it makes it exciting. I think it allows more flow because you have more players moving around unless you start to devolve into like a pick and roll 2-on-2 type game. But I think it does allow for more action. It allows for more lanes to the basket. And I think you're right. That's the thing that I don't think teams take enough advantage of. The fact that you can have a 5-out offense or a 4-out with the big man, in the post, and you open up the lane. I don't think teams are taking enough advantage of that. And like you said, everybody can't shoot. I know people like to credit Steph Curry as kind of being like the leader of this. And the one thing I'm tired of hearing people say is that, well, kids think they can be Steph Curry. And I'm just like, is that kind of one of those things that are like where they tell you when you're a kid, well, you can be president one day? Well, no.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. Yeah, like Steph Curry, one, has the genes, right? Mm-hmm. He's got the genes to be one of the best shooters of all time. And then once you marry the genes with the work ethic, like, I think I can shoot. And I have famously been roasted because I did not say that I could beat Ray Allen. I said that on any given night, anything could happen. That was what I said. And that got twisted into, oh, you think you can beat Ray Allen in the 3-point shooting contest.
That's a rather hot take, sir.
I mean, I'm confident in my abilities. I'm confident.
Hey, you gotta be, but that's a hot take as hell. That's a hot take. That's a super hot take.
And as a shooter, you gotta be confident. You have to be confident because you have to believe that the next shot is going in. And most of these young boys, most of these young kids in middle school and high school are jacking up these 30-footers. And I'm like, fam, y'all not Dame. Like, you not Steph. So I do think that's hurt the game, but I don't think it's ruining the game. So let me ask you this, because I know they have talked about, well, what if we made it instead of making it a 3-point shot? Because you mentioned analytics. Mm-hmm. If you made it a 2.5-point shot, right? Would that disincentivize? And I don't know if that's a word, so forgive me if I just made that up on the spot. Would that be something that would make teams not want to take as many 3-point shots? So would you do something like that?
No, I wouldn't. I don't want to change the game in terms of the way that it's been in terms of point values and things of that nature. Because I've even heard rumors about them talking about making a 4-point shot from the half-court line. And I'm like, no. This is not. We're not doing this. I want to keep the game the way it is. I just think in terms of scheme and in terms of flow of the game, I think that it's a coaching thing. I think that we could probably coach to make better choices in terms of what shot selections we take. Right now, I think shot selection is the issue. It's literally option, like literally picking the 3-point shot is option number one, and it shouldn't be option number one for everyone. Like, that's the problem that I have. So it's just like if they found a way to do that, but the old school in me is like, yo, drive the lane. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just like, look, I grew up watching Bulls Knicks, so for me, I'm kind of like, I miss the idea of the game being played inside out. I prefer that, but this is where we are. And thank Michael and D'Antoni for that, bringing in the Euro game. Thanks, sir. But we are where we are. But I mean, as far as the shot selection, if we coach better selections and better basketball decisions from the AAU level up, I think it'll eventually, the pendulum will swing back toward the middle, and I think we'll be better. But right now, everybody jacking up threes. Everybody.
Yeah. And I want to shout out to you for mentioning D'Antoni, because the thing that really irks my nerve is that people credit Steph for the 3-point revolution. I'm like, we were already there. Steph kind of took it into another stratosphere, and the Warriors, him and Clay, took it to another stratosphere because of how efficient they were at making them. But D'Antoni and his 7 seconds or less offense, and he was the one who really took it to the next level. So please listen to Angela. Listen to Angela.
Because here's the deal. Let's be honest. Steve Kerr got that team. He inherited that team. Let's just be real. They were already there. The talent was there, and it commanded that they could do that. Tell me how many rings Mike D'Antoni has won with that offense. I'll wait.
I mean, true. Although, shout out to Robert Horry. I still think had he not hip checked Nash, you know what I'm saying, and Amari and them stay on the bench, I think they beat the Spurs in 6, and they probably won the chip.
Well, the world will never know now.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like he's just snake bitten. If CP3 doesn't get hurt, I fully believe that they beat the Warriors in 17, right? I think they beat the Warriors in 7. Like, just snake bit.
Yeah, we'll see. But I'm just saying, like, the way I look at it is just like, bruh, there are some things, there's some like things you have to kind of like learn how to like maybe give a little. I think Mike D'Antoni's problem is that he doesn't give. He literally is trying to establish his game plan and his scheme when he may not even have the dogs to run that. He may not even have the horses to run it. It's like, look at your team and figure out what works. That's my problem. So just, he's a little stubborn that way. So that's why I feel like that's why he has 0.
Well, speaking of Mike D'Antoni, we're going to take a trip out west to one of his former teams, the team we just spoke of, the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns have started off the second half. They went into the break and then came out of it on a hot streak, and they are now number 2 in the West. So in previous shows, I lightly slandered the Utah Jazz because I just figured, okay, this is like the 2015 Atlanta Hawks. Right, nice story.
Utah gets no love at all.
I mean, listen, if you have a healthy Bron and AD, I mean, what are we talking about? Like, there's really nothing to talk about. Like, again, it's a nice story. Donovan Mitchell playing at a near, not quite MVP level, but playing really, really good. You know, Rudy Gobert, who for some reason he's like on that list of top 5 like most slandered players, and he don't really do nothing wrong. It's just like somebody dunks on Rudy Gobert, all that 7-foot French for nothing. You ain't. Go eat a croissant, man. Like, I don't know why they be on dude head like that. They just be hating. But, you know, it's a nice story. We'll see what happens. Like, you have to prove it. And so I feel like the Suns might be in that. Now, granted, I like the Suns. They have a really good makeup. I'm a CP3 guy. Mikal Bridges guy. Obviously, Cam Johnson from Carolina. Like, they got some nice pieces. Ayton. But do you see this as a team that could potentially, that's going to have to be either a Lakers or a Clippers? And I guess my question to you is do they have the team as constructed right now that can make that? Can we get a Utah Phoenix Western Conference Finals, which but Adam Silver would be like, no, please God, no.
Honestly, no. To put it plainly, I mean, it would have to take some things happening and some balls bouncing their way. I think that they are a team that's I think Phoenix, to be honest with you, is probably about a year or 2 away from competing at that level to challenge. The only thing, I think the better draw for them would be the Clippers, personally, just because I feel like if you got the Lakers at full strength with AD and LeBron, you got no shot. 0 shot. Now, if you got the Clippers, I hate to say it, but, you know, I'm looking for this person that they keep on calling playoff Paul George.
See,
I keep looking for him. Have you seen him? I haven't seen him.
He might be top. He might be top of the list of most slandered player in the league. Like,
I think he's a great player. I just need to see it in the postseason. Now, I'm gonna give him a mulligan for what happened in the bubble. I get it, like, that's real. But prior to that, I'm like, sir, I'm looking for you, bro. I don't see it. I don't see it. So I'm just like, for me, I really think that of the 2 teams that they had to draw, either the Lakers or the Clippers, I think they have a better shot against the Clippers. That's barring if the Lakers are at full strength.
Yeah, that's
the tough part. I'm just like, I don't feel the Lakers are vulnerable, but I think they're going to have to really dig deep, and like LeBron going to have to really put people on his back, and he's going to have to go full out and just ball out for real.
So I'm gonna ask you: Are you a LeBron fan or LeBron hater? Like, which part are you kind of in between?
I'm kind of in between. I mean, the thing is, I feel like if you had because here's the conversation between like the children, right? The children are like LeBron or Kobe, right?
Right.
If you make me put a gun to my head, I'm going to say LeBron. And this is why. LeBron can defend all 5 positions. All of them. And as far as I'm concerned, I remember LeBron when he first made his debut in the NBA. And one of the first things I noticed about him, it was a fast break. And instead of him, he was literally by himself. And he literally could have dunked the ball, but somebody else was on the wing with him. And instead, he made the proper basketball play and he made a pass. Now, this is why I was like, he's not Michael. He's Magic. He's Magic with a freakishly athletic body. That's crazy talent. And so for me, I feel like, if I had to pick who I would start a team with, I would start a team with LeBron, because I feel like LeBron is a all-around smart basketball player, and I know I can get him to defend all 5 positions. That's crazy. That doesn't happen very often.
So I just want to let you know now, I'm going to clip this and I'm going to put this out just to anger my Kobe fan friends. So you are doing the Lord's work tonight. You're doing the Lord's work tonight. I just like to poke them because they act as if Kobe could do no wrong, and that is blasphemous to take any player, including, for some people, including Michael.
Did you see? Kobe. But you know what? The problem is this: since everyone was at home, at least supposed to be at home on lockdown last year, that means everybody watched The Last Dance. That's book, chapter, verse, benediction. You got it from the source.
Facts.
You got it, like Kobe literally said in The Last Dance, who he got his style from, who he got his dog from. Don't even talk to me about it. Don't come see me. Don't come argue with me about it.
Hey, that's a clip. That's like about a nice little minute 30 clip right there. I mean, again, no offense to the Kobe stands out there, but I'll say this about Kobe, and then we can actually transition to the Lakers. Mm-hmm. I understand why. I think, and I'm pretty sure you heard people say that for this generation, he is their Jordan, right? And I think the thing for me is that, people of our generation, we carry that torch for Jordan. Right, like we're the ones who's upholding his legacy. Kobe has people of our age. He's got the generation above us. He's got the generation beneath us, and then even some of that up and coming generation. So I mean, he has got a legion. Whereas, like, it still boggles my mind to hear people say, "Yeah, I never watched Jordan play." Like the first time, like you want to talk about feeling old. So it's like you see little kids you babysat. Or you might have held them as kids. You see them grow up and they start to have families. That didn't really age me. But when I heard somebody say, "Yeah, I didn't see Michael play," and I'm just like, "Fam, like I'm done out here. Like I'm washed." Like to think that people don't have never seen the greatness of Michael Jordan live and in person, to know that real, and that's a lot for me.
And I think the thing that also I need to make sure I understand, make people understand, is that, look, I like Kobe Bryant. I did. Like, I think that he is definitely one of the best players I have ever seen in my lifetime.
Thanks.
With that being said, Michael Jordan was an institution. And not only was he an institution, but let me tell you something. I remember Michael having to go through those Piston teams.
Facts.
He didn't come in this thing as the heir apparent to anyone. He came out of nowhere. And he had to get knocked down a few times by Bill Laimbeer, John Sally, and them bad boys. He had to go through somebody. And that's the thing I miss about old NBA, is that you had to take your lumps to ascend. You had to go through somebody to get there. And Michael was no different. And I mean, the thing is, not only that, he had to deal with the hand checking, the types of defenses, and he still played defense. Not only was he just a prolific scorer, he would lock you down.
Yep.
We now have the tape, and like Tony Baker says, as we look at the tape, good people, as we look at the tape, the man is just, he's without reproach. And I'm not saying that like he didn't have bad games. He did have bad games. I'm not going to sit here and put him like in this level of like mysticism, like make him a deity. Yep. But Michael Jordan is the standard. He is the standard, and I'm not going to put anybody above that. Period.
I
know it because I saw it from my own 2 eyes.
And and again, that's the determining factor, right? Like that's the big thing is like shout out to 83. Like 83 is like really big on at least once a week. A Jordan clip will be retweeted from him and going, he's the GOAT. I don't want to talk about it. Period. End of discussion. There's nothing else to talk about. Some
Thank
crazy
you.
stat will be mentioned or some crazy highlight package will be shown. And it's Like so I'll say this for me though. When it comes to the greats, when it comes to the greatest of all time, I view the greatest of all time as like a living residence. And so, like, you have people on the bottom floor, you have the penthouse suite at the top floor. For me, that penthouse suite is shared by three people. Let me get the three in there. You got Kareem,
Facts.
you got LeBron,
Okay.
and you got Jordan. And Jordan has the master suite.
I like that. Yeah, I get that.
That's how I view, because I think again it's really hard to talk about the greatest of all time, especially when we haven't, like, I caught the tail end of Kareem and I have video to watch the majority of his career, right? But like a guy that I personally stand for is Elgin Baylor. There's not a lot of tape on Elgin Baylor, but like when you look at how dominant, so I've heard people talk about in terms of leapers, he was one of the original high flyers. He was one of the first people to have hang time. Like he had this turnaround jump shot that he would do, and he would just hang in the air and just get his shot off, where he would go to the basket and he would hang in the air. And so when you look at, like, sometimes you look at a scoring record and you'll see Damian Lillard's the first player since Michael Jordan, Elgin Baylor. And it's like you kind of gloss over because
he's forgotten. Yeah, he's forgotten.
Right.
Yeah.
And because there's no video. And so for me, he's a guy I personally advocated for to be like, yo, he might be top 10 just because of the era he played in and how dominant he was. Now, the fact that he didn't win any rings is held against him.
Yeah.
Because he kept bumping up against the Celtics. And the year that the Lakers finally broke through and won a ring, he retired, I think, after 9 games because of knee surgery.
Yeah.
So what happens if knee surgery had been like today's knee surgery, where we're coming back from an ACL, is not seen as a career-ending injury, where it was back in his day. So again, like, yeah, I absolutely agree. Like, it's just we saw greatness, we witnessed greatness, and it's something that you cannot deny. But y'all let us know what y'all think, man. What y'all think about the Phoenix Suns? Can the Phoenix Suns make it? Are they just another cute story like the Utah Jazz? And we're going to get Lakers versus Clippers versus Jazz, I guess. I don't see.
All this jazz hate is so hilarious.
My bad. All right. But let's stay out west. Let's jump into the Lakers situation right now. Anthony Davis has been out now for several weeks. There are reports saying out that he's going to be out at least maybe another 2 to 3, maybe longer. So I wanted to get your thoughts on the Lakers, and can they maintain a top 4 seed? Right now, they're the 3 seed in the West. Can they maintain that top 4 seed if Anthony Davis is out another month and a half, or maybe the rest of the regular season?
I'm going to say by the skin of their teeth that they hang on in the top, and I think that they will hang on to the 3 seed, maybe even get 2. I just don't see them being the ultimate end all be all buzzsaw that they've been without AD. Because I mean, just being honest, like, look, we of a certain age. I mean, I'm a couple months from 40 now. LeBron's 36. He's a basketball 36, and he's played in Olympics. He's played in playoff games. He's been deep into the playoffs. We're coming off of a short season and short off season. Them legs are going to be tired, and that's just I don't care how many I don't care how many treatments you get. I don't care if you do the TB12 diet. I don't care. Brother, them legs are going to be tired. Somebody else is going to have to come and step up. And I don't know if that's going to be somebody that is like, the thing is, I have a hard time sometimes even remembering who all's on the Lakers squad outside of LeBron and AD. I really do. Also, Kyle Kuzma.
Okay.
Maybe. But but he's kind of like, I mean, it would take him to be like kind of play out of his mind, which I don't think he's really capable of. He has to show it to. He has to show and prove. I don't really just go both based off the fact that okay, he's Kyle Kuzma. No, Kyle Kuzma needs to prove it because I mean he's been a little bit of a liability at times during the playoffs, especially. So I think that it's going to take those role players. Somebody's going to have to step up in a major way to kind of come out of nowhere to kind of solidify and be like a trusted person because LeBron's got to trust you with the ball. And I don't know if he trusts anybody the way he trusts AD right now. That's the problem. And that's what we're going to figure out from here going into the playoffs after this All-Star break. Who can LeBron trust in AD's absence for however long that's going to be? And that's going to tell us whether or not they're going to hold on to this stay in the top 4. I don't think they slip beyond 4, but they're going to have to hold on for dear life because I'm telling you, like right now where the standings are, I really like my heart, my West Coast heart, my Western Conference heart is really with the Portland Trail Blazers. I would love to see Dame. I think Dame is a dog. I respect him so much. And I really would love to see them put it together and go deep into the playoffs and really, really make a run at it. I don't know if it's going to happen, but if it's a time to do it, it's a time to catch the king while he's vulnerable. I really feel like they could be a team that if they can put it together, everybody put it together and everybody stay healthy, that they can do something. I would love to see the Portland Trail Blazers do something.
Man, I would too. I just feel like they're
too reliant on Dame. That's why I feel that they are.
Yeah, and I feel like they're so banged up. You know, they've missed Nurkic for a while. My guy CJ, who I like to call a walking bucket, you know, he's missed time, and I just don't know if defensively, once you get in the playoffs, right, and people can schedule for your strengths and your weaknesses and really break you down, are they going to have enough defense? They're going to get buckets. That's not a problem. I'm not concerned about that, but can they get the stops? And I don't see it either. Yeah. And let me say this too while we're talking about it. Much respect to Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal. You know, Bradley Beal, like so much. I don't know if Jordan is to blame for this. I don't know if we're to blame for this, but so much of basketball is consumed about, and sports in general, did you win a chip? Right? So much of your career is defined by winning a championship. And it is highly likely that Damian Lillard is never going to win a championship because the West stays stacked and it stays deep. You know, and the fact that he is going to be willing to spend at least the prime of his career grinding it out in Portland, where it's not a destination city. You're not going to be able to attract major free agents, right? So unless they draft it, there won't be a big three in Portland. And granted, Melo, shout out to Melo. He's let's say they're 2.53 out of 3 right now.
Right.
But I mean, him and Bradley Beal, like Bradley Beal's name has come up in lots of talk about being traded, and he has. He's shut it down. He's like, I want to stay in Washington. Like, I want to stay here. So much respect to Dame. Like I said, like you said, he got it out the mud. It out the mud. He's he's a dog. He grinds it out, and it may not lead to a championship, but he will have, at least for the city of Portland, and for diehard fans who aren't all about, well, he didn't win a chip, so he wasn't important. Like, he's going to be someone who's going to be remembered fondly for, kind of like you talked about, that old school that you know, where you didn't have as much free agent movement as we do now, you know. So much respect.
Yeah, and the thing that I really appreciate about like people like, you know, like Bradley Beal, like Damian Lillard, like Jimmy Butler, is like, look, I don't want to join you, I want to kill you. I want to. I don't want to align with you. I want to beat the man. I don't want to be a sidekick to the man. I want to beat the man. And that's something that is kind of missing, unfortunately. And I mean, I understand that players have their agency to do what they want and do what's best for them. And I know it's more than just X's and O's in sports now. I know it's about other things in business and all that type of stuff, and setting yourself up. I get that. But if we're talking strictly on the strength of the game, I don't want to be aligned with you. I want to beat you. That's the competitive nature of why we do this thing call sports. If we're really about it, like, no, I want to pick up this ball and it's like, it's gonna be me and you, and I'm gonna beat you. That's what I want to do. So and that's why I appreciate players like that. It's very refreshing because we don't see it that much anymore.
Man, shout out. I one day I'm going to get this right, with this podcast and getting the comments from my personal Facebook page to show up in the section. Shout out to the homie Brent who's watching. Shout out to the homie Big Los. I didn't say anything bad about Melo. I kept it. I'll say this about Melo. I was wrong I thought he was washed. I thought he was done and he's proved me wrong. Right? It's not prime Melo, but he still has something in the tank and he still can be a good contributor to a good team. So Los, that is my I don't know what the word I'm looking for. That is me paying my respect.
You didn't say anything bad. I mean, you didn't say nothing about the ISOs.
Yeah, I mean, look, that
Mr. ISO. That's what I called him.
He is what he is with that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you talk about Drake and emo music. It is what it is. You know what you're getting. You know what I'm saying? Either you love it and appreciate it, or you just like, I'm good. And so shout out to Melo. Shout out to ISO Melo, man. So let's jump into. So I want to get your predictions. We need to get into the NCAA, not NCAA, but NFL. Your predict. Let's just say Western. The conference finals for both sides. We really didn't talk about the East. Who do you got conference finals for both conferences?
Right now, I have to dig into my phone because I have to look and see, because I know, like, I'm gonna say that right now for the Eastern Conference final, I do have the Nets, only because I feel like in this particular time, with this, they're in the perfect storm where they don't play any defense, but their offense is just so potent that they can pretty much outrun anybody. And I feel like we're in a really weird time with the season and how conditioning is going to be. It's going to really come down to who's conditioned the best, because it's going to be like, look, it's not going to be nice. So I got, let me see here, NBA's playoff standings. So I'm just going to go with standings for the Eastern Conference. If you can look them up real quick.
Yep, 76ers are in first place. 76ers, Nets, Bucks, Heat, Hornets. That's the top 5.
Ooh, okay. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna keep it chalk then. I'm gonna go ahead and say 76ers Nets. Even though my dark horse, my dark horse would be, I ain't gonna lie, I like the Hornets. I do.
Hey, listen. LaMelo is mad fun to watch.
He's gonna be a problem. He is going to be a problem. Just watch. And if they get Lonzo, because there's a chance that they might get Lonzo too.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, the reason why I say that is because, honestly, depending on the situation, they're gonna have to. Well, the way I feel about it is LaMelo doesn't have playing time right now. He's getting off the bench. I feel like if they get Lonzo, it's almost like a bargaining chip. Like, you're gonna have to play Melo. You're gonna have to.
I don't know. Shout out to LeVar. I just don't want their daddy all up in the mix, man. Like,
I don't think Michael Jordan will allow it.
I don't know if you can stop LeVar. I think that's like irresistible force, a movable object. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like LeVar gonna do LeVar no matter. I mean, look, he didn't stand down when Trump got up in his face. He didn't stand down to Magic. Like, I guess he kind of deferred to Magic a little bit. But I mean, he gonna do his thing no matter what. He's going to do him. All
right. So I'm gonna say that it's still gonna be 76ers and it's still gonna be Nets. In the West, I think that I'm gonna go with obviously I'm gonna go with the Lakers. I'm gonna say Lakers. I don't like going chalk here, but it's so hard to figure out. Like, I just don't see any other way it's going to go except for, like, I mean, the Clippers are the only team that I feel like is going to be a liability. I feel like the Clippers could go out. I'm going to say Clippers, but I'm penciling them in. I'm not putting them in ink. I think that they could go out easy.
I respect
very
that.
Easy.
Okay. So I agree with you, Eastern Conference, because no, I don't. I take that back. I'm going chalk. I'm going to go 76ers. Oh man, Embiid.
The Nets?
Well, the Nets are. I mean, that's in pen. That you put that in pen, permanent
Right.
marker, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's stay there. I think depending on how Embiid comes back from the knee injury, I'm gonna say 76ers. I'm gonna say 76ers, Nets, Eastern Conference,
Mm-hmm.
and for all the slander that I have for them, I'm going to take the Jazz and the Lakers.
I agree with you. I agree with you. If I had to, like I said, I felt like if Clippers go out early,
Mhm.
it would be the Jazz to put them out if the seeding goes up according, or it could be a surprise Phoenix team that puts them out, and it just messes up the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can dig it. Y'all let us know what y'all think, man. Who y'all got? Eastern Conference, Western Conference Finals. Hit us up. IG, Twitter, Facebook. Search Brains and Bars. All right, let's jump into this free agency thing. All right. Let's get into it. So we can start here in the hometown. We can start here in Kansas City. The Chiefs have made some moves on the offensive line. They went and got Joe Tooney from the New England Patriots, and then today it was just announced a couple hours ago that they signed Kyle Long, who is a guard. He retired. He says he's gotten himself back in shape and he's ready to contribute again. So, I mean, obviously that since the Super Bowl, that's been all the talk about offensive line, offensive line, offensive line. So are we once again, now that they've made some additions, they get the good doctor, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif back next year. So they have filled 3 of the 5 spots on their offensive line and maybe Lucas Niang at offensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
So are we with this rebuilt offensive line? Is it just going to be okay? Pencil the Chiefs back into another. I don't want to say Super Bowl because anything can happen, but at least are we talking about another AFC title game trip with this rebuilt offensive line?
Yeah, I think so. And I wouldn't, and even though I'm a completely dyed in the wool, you know, red and gold Chiefs fan, I don't see the world through red and gold glasses either. That offensive line was decimated, and really was playing MacGyver like with Scotch tape and throughout the entire season they were playing with fire. So I think that with LDT coming back, with Niang being the left tackle, which I really have high hopes for him. I think that he can definitely be coached up and get developed. I really believe he can do well. I knew that Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz were it just wasn't worth it for the cap. They were not worth it for that they weren't worth it for that type of money. So the fact that they were able to get Kyle Long, I'm really happy about Tony. Really happy about Tony because he could play 3 different positions. He can play center, he can play guard. If we need to throw him on the tackle, we can. And he is Mr. Iron Man. He has not missed a snap. Haven't had that in a very long time. Not since the days of possibly Trent Green, where people were just literally the offensive line was just completely Teflon and nobody missed snaps like that, like Will Shields. We haven't had that in a very long time. So I'm very happy with that. That also bodes well for one young, I call him 25 lighters, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. 25 lighters on my dresser. Yes, sir. So my boy. So literally, I feel like this is going to bode well for him as well, and it's going to obviously take pressure off of Patrick because of he was running wild throughout the entire Super Bowl.
Man.
But it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty, but I saw it coming the moment that we saw Eric Fisher go down. I was like, this is not going to be good, just because I knew what Tampa had on that defensive line. But now that they've kind of rebuilt this, and we'll have a proper off season, so people will be able to gel too. That's going to be even better. So I do look forward to a revamped offensive line. I do think there's still questions on the defensive side that do need to be answered. So I would say on the offense we're good. Defense, we got to answer some questions.
So I'm going to make you the GM, right? So now that you've addressed the offensive line, I'm assuming they're going to add more depth through the draft. You talked about the defense. I'm going to make you Angela Veach. What moves are you making to address that defensive side of the ball?
We need to get another pass rusher opposite Frank Clark, because at this point, Chris Jones, I know that his stats don't show but he was doing a lot to affect and wreak havoc on the interior that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. So I understand that a lot of people had issues with Chris Jones in terms of what didn't look like he was showing up, but he actually was causing a lot of disruption. But Frank Clark can only do so much. And really, if I'm an offensive coordinator, I mean, all I got to do is basically pancake him and take him out, and you're taken care of. We need somebody else on the book end on the other side, so that way we can go ahead and take care of it. Also, we need to address corner. That there are some issues in the secondary that I feel that need to be taken care of. We have a young secondary; they can be coached up, but I would love to see us try to get somebody in there that potentially could maybe provide a veteran leadership along with Tyronn Lue, to kind of shore up that those sides of the ball as far as like the opposite sides of the field, because as it stands right now, there were a few times where there were some lackadaisical moments. Back to the offense, so I will say this: McCole Hardman, this is your make or break year, sir. McCole Hardman, this is your make or break year. I mean, you are a phenomenal talent. However, there were some mental lapses in there, sir, that need to be addressed. And it, like you had, this is what, now we're going into year
4. Yeah. No. Yeah. This is 4.
Like we're going to year 4. So,
okay.
Sir, like this is make or break time because we got speed. You can be cut.
And I do think that they're going to address wide receiver in the draft. I think it's not as deep as last year's, but it is a really good draft to find some depth. And I'm wrong. You were right. He's going into year 3. He's going into year 3.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's got to show us something. So before I jump into the other kind of big story, were there any other free agency things that you saw that caught your attention?
Go ahead and give me the full screen.
All right. Oh, she said the full screen. Okay. Do your thing. The floor is yours.
To my friends in Chicagoland, I'd like to provide thoughts and prayers, condolences, and just my heart goes out to you. Not only did your GM manage to pass up on 2 potential generational talents in Patrick Mahomes II and Deshaun Watson, but they managed to find a way to promise you Russell Wilson and then provide you with Andy Dalton. I think Colin Cowherd said it best. Like literally telling your kids, hey, we going to Hawaii. We taking a trip to Hawaii. And then next thing you know, oh, we ain't going to Hawaii. We just going to grandma's house. Andy Dalton is not a bad quarterback. He's serviceable, but we're talking about a comparison to Russell Wilson. And I really feel that your GM should be taken to the woodshed. Matt Nagy should be fired as well, because I'm sorry, sir, you don't have Patrick Mahomes. You have Mitchell Trubisky, but you still need to coach him up. And I think you have done him a disservice by not coaching him up. So I don't know what's going on in Chicago, but somebody go and pray for Spice Adams. Somebody go and check on like my people's on, I know y'all know who y'all are. Y'all know, I see your bear down hashtags.
Oh man.
I see them. Y'all know who y'all are. But I'm gonna pray for y'all. I understand what it was like to have a GM that was just making no kind of sense in football decisions. Y'all need to go ahead and collaborate, mobilize, and get that dude up out the paint. That's it.
I feel like after that, you should have had the voiceover and said, for 10 cents a day, you can sponsor.
I promise you, when I saw Andy Dalton, I said,
oh, man.
Andy Dalton?
Yeah, mediocre.
Y'all might as well got Josh McCown. What was that? What was that?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, especially when you were saying all the reports about them going all out for Russ and going to make an offer. And yeah, you can't do that and then come back. That's like saying to make another analogy. That's like saying, hey, I'm about to get them J's for you, babe. Son, I got you. I got the J's. And then you come back with like some pro wings. You know what I'm saying? You just like, I can't go to school with this. I told my boys I was getting the J's.
I asked her for Adidas and she bought me Zips. I mean, like, what is that? Like, I'm sorry, you don't do that. You don't get no off-brand, always same quarterback. We was talking about getting top of the line. No.
Yeah,
that's tough. That is tough.
Facts. So the other kind of big free agent story for me that stood out, shout out to Bill Belichick. I feel like Bill Belichick heard y'all talking bad on his name. And Bill Belichick, he got a STEMI, he got a small business loan from the government, and he went to Robert Kraft and said, I'm about to go get some free agents. And he said, well, how many? All of them.
All of them.
All I want them all. Like, let me run down the list real quick. So in the first 2 days, he signed Nelson Aguilar, wide receiver, Kendrick Bourne, wide receiver, Devon Godchaux, defensive tackle, Hunter Henry, tight end, Matt Judon, linebacker, Jalen Mills, cornerback, Jonnu Smith. My man said that you're not about to talk bad about me no more. And if you want, he basically got on his Suge Knight and said, listen, if you don't want to have a coach who all up in the video, they talking about he a genius, he wearing Kango hats, come to Foxborough. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's what Bill Belichick was on.
Listen, when he got Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, I was like, oh, we trying to do Gronk, Anderson, Aaron Hernandez point. What was this like? What the third iteration of the double tight end? Yeah. I'm like, it was Judon, Hunter Henry, and Jonnu Smith for me. Those three for me, I was like, ooh boy. Now I don't feel any particular way about Aguilar because we all know the history that the Patriots have had with wide receivers. They can't draft one, and they can't seem to get one in free agency outside of Randy Moss.
Facts.
That Randy Moss, I'm beginning to believe, was just one of those, oh, the sun shined on the dogs behind one day. It happened. And I mean, I don't know how good they will be because we still need to see how Cam is. Cam is only on a 1-year contract, but they gotta be better. And we also got people coming back from COVID, because Hightower's coming back. Who else is coming back? Like
Patrick Chung is coming back.
Yeah. So Patriots, they look. They what's the phrase? News of my demise has been greatly exaggerated. So we'll see.
Yeah, and so my apologies, excuse me. No, I do hope that Cam Newton can come back and give us some of 2015 Cam. Obviously, those days are far behind him, but it hurt my heart as someone who roots for Cam, who enjoys watching him play, to see him struggle like he did. And so, I hope he can come back, be 70 to 80% of what he was. And that's enough to get them into the playoffs, especially with that 7 seed. I think they finished 7-9 this past year. So, I mean, they were right there. They were close. Granted, they would have needed to get the 10 wins, but they lost a couple of close games that came down to the wire. So if Cam can come back and I think, like you said, shout out to the 2 tight end sets. Cam, I think, struggles throwing the ball to the sidelines. You give him those tight ends with that read option. You can hit him down the seam, give him some quick outs and stuff like that. Like, I think he is given – there's no excuses for Cam. Last year, you can make the excuse of who is he throwing to? The defense is not any good. Bill Belichick said, nah, no excuses. It's all right. I'm giving you the pieces. It's on you to make this thing happen. And I think they can be a fringe playoff team with those improvements.
Yeah, they could definitely, like with the NFL. I mean, especially with the playoffs. I mean, obviously it's a do or die, win or go home. So you never know how it's going to fall. I mean, you're basically playing to get in the tournament. You are, as Bill Parcells would used to say, we're just trying to get into the tournament. And once you get in there, anything can happen. So I do not count out the Patriots. I do not count out Bill Belichick. As much as I can't stand that man, I respect that man. And I know that man. He will definitely find a way. And don't let him find a way. He will exploit it, and you will be sitting going home talking about what the heck just happened.
Yep. So so we're a little bit over time. So if anything else on free agency you want to add before we just briefly touch on the NCAA tournament.
I think that's pretty much it. Those are like the biggest things I wanted to touch on for sure.
Bet. Okay, so real quick, so y'all let us know what y'all think about Bill Belichick. Stimmy hit his bank account and him going crazy in free agency. And also, what do you think about the Chiefs moves? Kansas City, let us know what's up. And any other things that you found interesting about free agency thus far. Hit us up, Facebook, Twitter, and IG at Brains and Bars. So I think we both talked about it. Neither one of us have followed college basketball in the ways that we might have in the past. So I just want to jump to this. Do you have Gonzaga winning it all?
No, I don't. I don't trust Gonzaga. I've been there too many times with Gonzaga. And they need to show me. I know they are undefeated. I still don't trust it. I still don't trust them.
Okay.
I'm thinking that what I believe wholeheartedly is that the NCAA champion is coming out of the Big Ten.
Ooh, okay. So you got Illinois, Iowa.
I got
Michigan.
I think it's either Illinois or Michigan could make noise. I really do. I really believe in them. Don't sleep on Baylor either. I know that they are, don't sleep on Baylor, but I really do believe that, they could be that deal, and I will definitely be rooting for you. I will be rooting hardly for Michigan once UNC is out the tournament.
So, well, come hurry up. I'm running late on time. My son likes to make his weekly appearance. Go ahead.
My tooth.
All right, thank you.
I
appreciate. Oh wow, well, I'll have to check on that when we get done.
I tried to eat some candy, but
it was too hard.
It got ripped out.
All right, well, I'll have your mom look at that, and I'll come check on it in a second. Thank you.
I need to stay in my bed.
All right.
So the tooth fairy can come.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
Money.
And that was Ethan, ladies and gentlemen.
Dad life. Hashtag dad life. Man.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. All right. So I have no idea what we were saying. Oh, I don't trust Baylor. You don't trust Gonzaga. I don't trust Baylor. No offense to Scott Drew. I just don't think that. I think time and time again, his teams let us down. And if Carolina can beat Wisconsin, I might go with Carolina for the upset on Baylor because they struggle with size, and Carolina has size in bunches. So
I will never ever look, if they find a way to upset everybody, make it to this deck and pull this thing out, mess around and win a chip, I'll be the happiest person alive. Wouldn't saw it coming, but I'll be like, I knew it all along.
I am going to pick Gonzaga to win the whole thing because I think Gonzaga, I watched them play at least 3 or 4 late. I watched them late in the season play. And honestly, it reminds me of a really good Carolina team. They have good size. They have a point guard that, again, Jalen Suggs knows how to get his shot within the floor of the offense. It's a really good offense. And when they're operating at a good efficiency, they're one of the best teams in the nation, and they can defend. So I just think that because of their coaching, Mark Few's one of the best coaches in the country. Because of their experience, it's a junior, senior laden team. I just think that they are going to. I forget how many teams have gone undefeated. It's maybe 4 or 5. They'll be the next to place their name in the pantheon of undefeated national champions. So that's who I got. I got Gonzaga winning it all.
Yeah, I mean, if they do, I wouldn't be surprised. I just need to see them do it because we've seen good Gonzaga teams before, and they find a way to just do what Gonzaga has been known to do. So if they do win, salute to them. However, Big Ten.
Hey, Illinois and Iowa, especially Illinois, that's a really good basket. I mean, they are again. They got size. Kofi Coburn. I cannot. I'm going to mispronounce his name, but it's IU. I maybe. I don't know. I know it's IU. I think it's IU. But
that boy.
number 11. Number 11. He's really good. That boy good. That boy good. But yeah, so I'm not mad at that either. I think I'm not mad at a Big Ten team winning it all. But before we get out of here, I want to say one thing. We have a bars and brackets challenge going on right now. If you are on Facebook, if you go follow the It's a Black and White Thing, Facebook fan page, or on Twitter, if you go and follow the @Brains and Bars Twitter handle, sign up for the challenge. It's free to sign up. You get one bracket. You do not get 11 brackets. You get one bracket. The winner of that challenge wins. Whoever has the best score at the end of the tournament wins $150 winner take all cash prize from the crew. So again, go ahead, follow us on Facebook. It's a Black and White Thing. On Twitter @Brains and Bars. Sign up for the bracket challenge. I've reposted it several times. I'll post it to the Twitter page as part of my pinned tweet, so you can go and see it. Go there, sign up. You can win $150 on us. So, Angela, I want to thank you for coming through. This would not be the last time. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And, I get it. We had a little bit of friction on the football and the Chiefs and the Niners, but we found common ground with the Carolina team. So
yeah, you redeemed yourself rather quickly, because I'm like, that Niners thing is kind of gross, but it's fine. It's fine.
That's, opposites attract. All right. So is there anything that you would like to promote? Any hashtags, any social media, any causes, anything you want to highlight?
I'm just really out here just being a Black woman, just trying to survive this panini, this panoramic. So honestly, if you can find me anywhere, you can find me out here on the IG streets. I am at no people pleasing, which is NOPPLZ_. No people pleasing. And you can find me, of course, on the Facebooks, Angela Gray, GREY. And we could chat. I'm not gonna argue with you about Kobe though. That's just a non-starter. So
Facts. Kobe stands. Stay out of her mentions. Stay out of her mentions.
I do not negotiate with terrorists.
Yo, well, once again, thank you for being on. I know the title had Erica. Erica had some technical difficulties. She could not make it, but shout out to her. We will definitely link up when we can have her on at a later date. Once again, let me get the closing tag out. It's been a Black and White Thing. You can go, once again, you can follow us on IG, Twitter, Facebook @Brains and Bars. You can check out every episode of the podcast by searching Brains and Bars, whether it be YouTube or the podcast app of your choice. Please rate, review, subscribe, give us five stars, like, and share the broadcast, please. And yeah, until next time, man, we'll see y'all. So we appreciate y'all tuning in. Everybody out there in the comments, one day I'm going to get my life together and get this comment section thing right. Shout out to y'all in the comments. We appreciate y'all. And then we'll see y'all next week, man. Take it easy out there.